Three wanderers are walking on the dark side of the moon. They're tired and lost. Fortunately, a rescue spaceship spots them. The travelers beg to take them on board, but there is only one seat. The first wanderer carries a heavy box with meteorite rocks. He's tired and can no longer walk with this load. The second guy carries nothing, but he looks sick. The third wanderer says he's exhausted because he's extremely thirsty. He hasn't drank for 2 days. Who really needs help? Gravity is much weaker on the moon than on Earth, so the first wanderer's box should be quite light. He just pretends to be tired. The third wanderer has a chance to get some water. Do you see a small rescue station in the distance? H2O is written on it, so he can find water there. But the second wanderer really needs help. The indicator on his spacesuit signals a low oxygen level. The inhabitants of Planet Quest love adventures. Their favorite place is a dangerous park on a desert planet near a black hole. So one guy named Lup goes there. He needs to try to survive there for 1 week. As soon as he arrives at the park, he comes across a space cockroach that has 6 heads. The cockroach jumps on Lup and bites him with one of its heads. Lup fights off the monster and gets back to the ship. The bite is venomous, but fortunately, Lup has an antidote. First, he needs to drink 1 pill that contains medicine, and after that, a catalyst that activates the cure. Then, Lup needs to repeat it 2 hours later. But the problem is the pills with the medicine and catalyst look similar, and Lup has mixed them in his pocket. He can't take 4 tablets at once because it's dangerous, so how can he separate them? Lup needs to crush all the pills and divide the powder into 2 equal parts. One is for now, and the other he'll swallow 2 hours later. There will be the same amount of catalyst and antidote in each part. You're on planet Veveki, in the Purple Pencil Nebula. Right now you're wandering through a dark forest. The trees are covered with pieces of toilet paper instead of leaves. You know you have company in the woods, a werewolf. You come to a rocky cliff and see 3 bridges leading to the other side of the forest. There are people on every bridge. Which one is the werewolf? It can be anybody, but it doesn't matter. No one can turn into a werewolf since there's no full moon here. This is not Earth, remember? A dwarf planet illuminates the sky. Welcome to the moon again. Right now, you witness the most incredible jumping competition. Thanks to the weak gravity on Earth's natural satellite, athletes can jump really high. But which of them will jump the highest? The participants put on their spacesuits and walk out of the atmospheric station. They seem to be ready. 3, 2, 1, jump! And we see the winner. She's jumped much higher than her opponents. But wait, there's something wrong here. This participant is not worthy of the title of the winner. She cheated. But how did you understand that? It's a hologram. All the participants left footprints on the ground after jumping and landing. But this girl has left no traces, which means she's not real. On the shore of Molten Gum, far away from the village of Talking Stones, there's a big house. This building is different from all others in this neighborhood since it exists in 2-dimensional space. The owner is a rich architect, Mr. Ali Lee Bulb, who has just woken up after a 90,000-second nap. He finds a broken diamond banana in the kitchen. Mr. Ali Lee Bulb gets angry and calls everyone who was in the house while he was sleeping. He's going to find out who broke his amazing piece of jewelry. Big closed eye, cardboard giraffe with glasses, and 3-headed pelican come into the living room.
Tell me who broke the banana.
Mr. Ali Lee Bulb says.
I didn't do that. I was visiting rich old people in their dreams.
Big closed eye tells him.
I was watching the Liquid Laughter 3D movie in the living room all this time.
The giraffe says.
I have no idea who I am and what's going on here. I haven't touched your banana,
said one of the pelican's heads. Mr. Ali Lee Bulb immediately realizes who's lied to him. And you? It's Cardboard Giraffe. He couldn't watch a 3D movie since the house only exists in 2 dimensions. It happened on a dark night on a purple planet. A fluffy snake crawled into the house where a purple guy was sleeping. It bit him, and the purple guy decided to go to a hospital. He told the doctor everything. She looked at the guy attentively and told him the snake hadn't been venomous. How did she know that? It was 3:45 a.m. on the clock in the guy's room. Now it's 11:45 p.m. on the clock in the examination room. The purple guy has spent almost a day trying to get to the hospital. So far, nothing bad has happened to him, which means the snake was not poisonous. The king of a tiny planet has no heirs. But then, who will become the ruler of this world? To choose the best candidate, the king gives every inhabitant 1 seed.
Whoever grows the most beautiful flower will get the planet,
the king tells them.
Come back in 2 months.
2 months later, everyone came back with beautiful flowers. Among hundreds of candidates, there was one girl with an empty pot, and her brother with the most beautiful flower. The king said they would rule the planet. Why them? All the seeds were fake, and the girl didn't want to deceive the king by replacing the seed. Meanwhile, her brother put a lot of effort into growing the most beautiful plant to achieve his goal. Rain falls upward in this world, cars move backward, broken glass repairs itself, pens erase words from paper, chickens hide back in the egg at the end of their life. So you get it, time runs backward here. But something is wrong in this world. What is it? Try to look beyond the picture you've just seen before answering. The correct answer is my voice. It's not reversed. Space monsters are chasing you inside an abandoned space station somewhere at the edge of a faraway galaxy. They're stretching their toothy tentacles towards you. Fortunately, you manage to jump into a rescue ship and get out of there. Suddenly, you realize that the ship has no brakes. There's an asteroid belt to your left. A small black hole is on the right, and a red star is in the middle. Which way should you choose? None of these. Don't forget that you can also fly up or down. You're in outer space. It's raining diamonds every day on this planet. The rays of the closest star that warms this world contain gold particles. Banknotes grow on trees. Seas glow green because the water is filled with emeralds. Despite all this wealth, people don't want to live here. Why? Gold particles in the air can damage human lungs within seconds. Money trees don't produce oxygen, and there are no fish in the water because of the emeralds. People simply can't exist there.
In a parallel universe, it was only allowed to have fun and eat candy. No one ever worked or studied. Mrs. Relum came back home after a long and fun day at a club. Her 3 daughters were supposed to have fun too. She asked them what they had been doing. Hannah said, "I've been watching Netflix all day." Elle said, "I went to a party." Ava said, "I had lunch with a bunch of girls." Still, Mrs. Relum could tell that one of her daughters lied and actually spent all day studying. Who was it? It was Hannah. Look, there's an opened physics textbook and some notes under her bed. Ava had a sleepover with her friends, so no wonder that her room is a complete mess. Now she's going camping with her friends. She needs her boots, a flashlight, and a raincoat. Can you help her find them in the room? Yes, here they are. Great job. After Ava returns from her camping trip, she'll need to go to her art class. She needs her brushes, her paints, and a canvas. Can you help her find them? Here, here, and here. Did you manage to locate all of them? Elle is getting ready for a sleepover and can't find some things in her messy room too. She needs her pajamas, a laptop, and a Bluetooth speaker. Can you help her find them? Here they are. Did you find them all? Now Elle is getting ready to go to a club with some friends. She needs her dress, a makeup kit, and her wallet. Where are they? They're all right here. Okay, now I'll show you some photos. In each photo, there are hidden numbers from 1 to 9, except for 1. Your task is to find all numbers and identify which one is missing.
Yeah.
Here is the first one. Which number from 1 to 9 isn't in the photo? Correct. There is no number 3. Okay, now something a bit harder. A new photo, but the task is the same. Which number is missing? Now, there's no number 7. The next one, here it is. What do you say? This time, it's 9 that's missing. The task is getting harder, and the numbers aren't so easy to find anymore. But I believe you can do it, so go ahead. What do you say this time? There is no number 5. That's right. Okay, the last one. Concentrate and give me the right answer. Yes, number 8 isn't there. Great job. Alex is enjoying the sun in the backyard, and Meadow is mowing the lawn before joining him and drinking her milkshake. Which one of them is doing something stupid? Meadow. Her milkshake is standing in direct sunlight. Firstly, it'll have melted by the time she's free. Secondly, the milk can go bad, so she's likely to get a stomachache. Thomas and Abigail are going on a date. Abigail arrived half an hour earlier and went book hunting to a nearby mall. Thomas is running late, so he's in a hurry. Who is doing something wrong? Thomas. He's driving on the left side of the road. Ryan and Neva are camping. Ryan took a boat to cross the river, and Neva went to collect some sticks to make a fire. Who is in danger? Ryan. Look, the boat has a crack in it and starts getting filled with water. Asher and Haley are enjoying their vacations. Asher is on a beach and has fallen asleep. Haley is hiking in the mountains. Who is not smart? Asher, the sun is high in the sky, so it's around midday. He has fallen asleep, so he'll get a sunburn. See? He's already pink. William and Wendy are late for work. Who is doing something wrong? William. He's driving way above the speed limit. Sam found his best friend, Wendy, unconscious in her kitchen and immediately called the police. Here's what he had told them when the police arrived. She had been out of the city for a work trip and had just returned home. I was walking past her house with my dog and saw that the light was on. I peeked through the window and saw her lying here in the kitchen. So I entered the house. I had the key. Sam was taken to the police station as a suspect. Why? Sam said that he had been walking with his dog, but then, where is the animal? Aurora was spending her summer in the countryside. She loved taking long trips to the local forest alone. During one of her walks, she came across a huge mansion. It was obvious that no one lived there, so she entered it. It was dusty inside, but very beautiful, so she took some pictures and left. When Aurora came back home, she scrolled through her photos to pick the best of them to post on her social media. When she saw one of the photos, she got chills. Take a good look at the photo. Can you see what scared her so much? Aurora noticed a ghost right here. So the mansion is haunted. Aurora looked through her other photos and saw more ghosts. But how many? Help her count them. Here's the next photo. How many ghosts can you find? One, 2, and 3. There are 3 ghosts in this one. The next picture. Do you see any ghosts? There are just 2 ghosts here, but they are very well hidden. Have you found both? And the last photo. How many ghosts can you find? Look, there are 4 of them here. Mr. Johnson got in a car accident and spent a month in the hospital. He had amnesia and forgot some things. He didn't have any family. A month later, he finally returned home. He found his street, but then he realized he didn't remember which of the 2 houses was actually his house. Can you guess which house belongs to him? The light is on in this house, so someone must live there. As you remember, Mr. Johnson lives alone, so his house must be the other one, with dark windows. Mrs. Brown is a landlord of an apartment building with a no-pet policy. Not even fish are allowed. One night, she heard a dog barking somewhere on the floor above hers. The next day, she inspected 2 apartments. In which apartment does the dog live? It must be this one. Even though there's no dog in sight, the carpet is covered in dog hairs.
It's a cold night. Dark city streets, lights of driving cars, sounds of sirens, loud voices, chilly air, wet asphalt. Are you ready to get rid of the crime in this city? Then remember to count your correct answers. November 4th, 2021. It's been raining for 3 days, but even this is not enough to wash away all the dirt of the city. For several hours, Detective Sadfist had been sitting in his car near the house of a Hollywood star. The detective is sure that someone is going to rob her house. The actress doesn't believe in this. In the distance, he sees a tall man in a hat. He approaches the door and knocks. The actress opens the door and greets the stranger. "Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it was my house," he says. It has a very similar design. The actress closes the door and the stranger leaves. The detective gets out of the car and arrests him because the man is a thief. Why is the detective so sure about this? If the stranger had really thought it was his house, he wouldn't have knocked on the door. He'd have tried to open it with a key. The detective takes the thief to the station. The rain is finally over. It promises to be a long night, so the detective goes to buy a coffee. At this moment, the radio reports an arson to the south of the central square. No time for coffee. Sadfist hits the gas pedal and drives to the place. He notices the flames from afar. 2 houses are burning. The detective notices several more police cars. A police officer tells him that one house belongs to a rich businessman. There's a lot of money inside. The owner of the second house is a poor artist. His paintings are burning now. Which house will the detective go to first to put out the fire? He's not a firefighter, so he won't approach either house. After watching the flames for a while, Detective Sadfist gets into his car and realizes he can't take it anymore. He needs some sleep. He doesn't want to go home because his house reminds him of her, and he doesn't need those memories at the moment. He decides to rent a hotel room. The detective asks the hotel administrator to wake him up at 7 a.m. "Of course," the man says, "but don't forget to call me first. Then I'll come to wake you up. One call will be enough." What does the detective need to do to make the lazy guy wake him up? He can set an auto call for 6:50 a.m. The detective enters the room and falls on the bed. At this moment, the door starts opening slowly. The faces of people he has thrown into jail appear out of the darkness. The detective sits up on the bed and the door slams shut. At first, Sadfist doesn't understand what just happened, but then he lets out a sigh of relief. It was just a nightmare. How has he figured it out? It's already light outside. It was dark when the detective checked into the hotel. That means he was asleep. A new day, a new case. The detective is going to the countryside. A girl has disappeared there. Sadfist intends to find her. He stops his car near 3 houses. They're located on the ocean beach. 3 roads lead to the houses. Sharp rocks and shards of glass cover the first road. The second road is swarming with snakes. Lava is boiling on the third road. Which path should the detective choose? The ocean will soon cool the lava and turn it into stone. The detective follows the third path. He enters the house and finds the missing girl there. She confesses that she stayed late at a party, and her mother was so worried that she called the police. Detective Sadfist arrives at an office building in the center of the city. He goes up to the top floor. Here, a rich banker is lying unconscious. Someone hit him on the head and stole important documents from his safe. There's a tape recorder on the banker's desk. The detective turns it on. The banker's voice comes from the microphone. "My nephew. He called me a few minutes ago and said he would break into my office and take my documents. I don't know what to do. If something happens to me, you should know. My nephew Michael is to blame. Oh no, I think I heard the elevator doors open. I think it's him. He's here. The recording ends. We must find his nephew, one of the police officers says. I don't think so. The nephew has done nothing wrong. The man just wanted to frame him. Sadfist answers. How did the detective figure that out? Someone rewound the tape in the recorder to the very beginning. It's unlikely that the nephew did it. He'd get rid of the recorder. The detective leaves the office, gets into the elevator, and meets an old concierge. They go down very slowly. The concierge looks attentively at the buttons. The detective asks him, "What's the matter?" The concierge answers that 5 people live on the 35th floor. 3 live on the 20th floor. 4 people live on the 7th floor. And 7 people live on all other floors. The building has 40 floors in total. The concierge asks, which elevator button is pressed most often? What do you think? The answer is the first floor button. It's pressed by every resident. The detective gets into the car and drives to a cafe. He hasn't eaten anything since yesterday. He orders an omelet and opens a newspaper. There's a riddle on the front page. In the winter, a guy went to a nearby village to meet with his friends. He knew he needed to go through a forest, a small field, then a forest again, and only after that would he reach his goal. The guy started his journey. He went through the forest, the field, another forest. But then, he saw a big river. How can he cross it? The detective grins because he knows the answer. And what about you? It was winter. The river was frozen. A waiter approaches Sadfist and puts his omelet with coffee on the table. The detective eats, then calmly gets up from the table and heads to the kitchen. There, he meets a masked robber. The detective arrests him. How did he know there was a criminal in the kitchen? Rob in kitchen was written on the coffee mug. The robber is detained by other police officers, and Sadfist goes back to his car. He has a new case. He arrives at an antique store. Some swindler has deceived the store owner and sold him a fake coin. The coin has a date on it, 175 BCE. It looks old. The analysis has shown that the coin is ancient. The store owner says he thought it was really made before the current era. How did he eventually understand the coin was a fake? People who lived before our era couldn't write BCE on their coins. Sadfist leaves the store. Oh no, his shoes are torn. The detective gets into his car and goes to a shoe store. He parks, gets out of his car, and he sees 3 stores. The best shoes in the city, the sign on the first building claims. The best shoes in the world is written on the second building. But the inscription on the third store is the best. Detective Sadfist smiles and goes there. What's written on the third store? The best shoes on the street. After doing some shopping, Sadfist drives down the street and sees a group of suspicious people standing next to a building under construction. The detective stops the car. People notice him and run away in the other direction. The detective runs after them. It seems they've managed to escape, but Sadfist doesn't think so. He calls for backup and tells the police he's caught a gang of hooligans. They're all hiding in a transformer box. How did the detective know that? After all, he lost sight of the hooligans at some point. The hooligans ran on uncured concrete and left footprints leading to the transformer box. Oh no! Now, Sadfist's new shoes are stained with wet concrete. The detective gets into the car and goes to the laundry. There he meets the owner, who finds out about another crime. The owner claims that someone has taken a huge amount of money from his safe. But the detective realizes that there was no thief. The owner stole the money himself to get compensation from the insurance company. Sadfist has noticed this laundry gets robbed too often, but the owner hasn't changed the locks or strengthened security yet. But how can the detective prove the money hasn't been stolen? There are banknotes in that washing machine over there. That's where the owner hid the money. Tired, the detective returns home. His apartment is a mess. Since she left him, the house has turned into a dump. A mouse squeaks somewhere in the room. Inspect the apartment and help Sadfist catch the rodent. See that box with a hole? It looks like the mouse has chewed through it. Sadfist catches the tiny animal, but does nothing to it. He decides it will be his pet. The detective's mood is as bad as it always is. But maybe checking your score will cheer him up. 0 to 3 points. Detective Sadfist has only gotten sadder because you haven't helped him much in his investigation. 4 to 7 points. Not bad for an ordinary private detective, but it's unsatisfactory for Sadfist, the best detective in the city. Next time, try to be more attentive. 8 to 10 points. Well, it's better, but still not good enough. It's like having eaten a burger and still feeling a little hungry. 11 to 14 points. Today, the city can sleep peacefully. You've helped the detective in almost all cases. He deserves his long-awaited rest. And you do too. I have some more riddles for you today. Let's start with the easy ones for a warm-up. Can you find the odd one out? Yep, here it is. Here's another one. Find an odd one out here then. Perfect, here it is. How about this one? Right here. Did you find it? And it's getting harder. What about the odd one out here? Look, it's this one. All the other hands are the right ones, and this one is the only left hand. Now I'll show you two pictures. Your task is to find 5 differences between them. Ready? Here they are. How many did you spot? Let's do it one more time. Find 5 differences here. Keep your eyes wide open. So did you manage to do it? I think you're now prepared for more hardcore tasks. Let's start with decoding. Detective Callum has been searching for a missing girl, Riley, for 3 weeks. He was in his office going through the case for the 100th time when he got an anonymous email saying, "Can you guess what's written here?" It's just written in reverse order. If you read it from right to left, the message turns into, "The girl is in a hidden room beneath the Central Cafe. Bring $500 and I will tell you the passcode." Someone robbed a bank, and Detective Callum was leading the investigation. There were 2 robbers, but the police managed to catch only one of them, Dante. Dante refused to name his accomplice, but the police had 3 suspects, Bree, Ivory, and Ronan. Detective Callum took a brief look at them and knew exactly who the second robber was. Who was it, and how did he know? It's Ivory. Look, she has the exact same tattoo on her wrist as Dante. Holland went to work and asked her boyfriend, Kyler, to walk the dog. Kyler agreed, but then his friend called him and suggested to come over to play a new video game. So, Kyler decided to skip the dog walk and went straight to his friends. Holland and he met right outside the house when they were both going back home. Kyler said that he'd walked the dog and then went to play with his friend. But Holland knew that he was lying. How? It's winter. So just look at the footprints. There are Holland's footprints on the snow going both ways, and Kyler's footprints going both ways too, but there are no footprints of the dog. Someone in a little town was stealing bicycles. Every time someone's bike was stolen, the owner would find a business card with 2 emojis printed on it. The police had 3 main suspects: Ocean Walker, Rebecca Smith, and Damian Jones. Who is the robber? The emojis signify the name. They are a wave and a person walking, so the robber must be Mr. Ocean Walker. On Wednesday, after a break, Nash came to his desk and found a short love note written in red ink. It wasn't signed, but Nash had 3 girls in mind, so he asked each of them if she had written him the note. Layla said that she'd been chatting with her friends and didn't write any notes. Dawn said that she was busy all break finishing her homework. Oakley said that she had been in the bathroom and had just come back. Who do you think wrote the note? Look, Oakley's hands are covered in ink. It's blue ink, but still. If she really was in the bathroom, her hands would be clean. So she must be lying, and she must be the one who wrote that note. Adley was kidnapped and woke up in a dungeon. There were 3 ways out, but they all looked dangerous. Behind one door, there were many little robots that were ready to attack her. Behind the second door, there were 3 trained tigers. Behind the third door, there were 3 big and very hungry dogs. Which way should Adley choose to get out safely? The best choice must be the first door. Although they're robots, they're still super small and probably can't cause her much harm. Right before a restaurant was about to open, someone had stolen all the money from the cashier's desk. A cook said that he was working in the kitchen and didn't have any free time. The security guy said that he was in the bathroom and didn't see anything. The waiter said that there was a suspicious visitor peeking around. Who do you think stole the money? The restaurant was still closed and there couldn't be any visitors, so the waiter must have lied and is probably guilty. Ned works in a club, and his job is to check people's ID cards and not to let suspicious people or folks under 21 in. Take a look at ID cards and help him decide if he can let each visitor in or not. Here's the first one. What do you think? She seems fine. Let her in. Okay, here's the next visitor. What do you say? June 31st does not exist. There are just 30 days in June, so nope. What about this guy? Something is wrong once again. Even though February 29th theoretically exists, there was no February 29th in 1977. It's every year that can be divided by 4. Okay, what do you think about this girl? I don't see anything suspicious about her. Here's another candidate for the club. What do you think? Well, he is 22, and he seems fine to me. Let him in. A student was having an oral chemistry exam and was struggling with his last task. His professor decided to help him and have some fun, so he said that instead of the task, the student could guess his daughter's name. He only had one guess, but there was a hint. He wrote down several numbers: 32, 10, 14, 16. What's the professor's daughter's name? It's a chemistry class and chemistry professor, so there must be something related to chemistry. Look, there's even a periodic table in the background to help you. The 32nd element is germanium, or Ge, and the 10th one is neon, or Ne, and the 14th one is silicon, or Si, and finally, the 16th element is sulfur, or S. Together, they form the name Genesis. A bank was robbed, but they couldn't find the robber. A week later, at night, Detective Callum woke up from a call from a local shop's owner. He said that he found the money under his terrace. Detective Callum arrived, but there was only half of the money stolen. The man said that he had seen a man by his shop a week ago. It was a full moon, so he could see that the man had red hair and was wearing a dark hoodie. Still, the shop owner was arrested. Why? The shop owner said it was a full moon a week ago, but look, it's a full moon right now, so the man must be lying about something. In history class, students were asked to prepare a presentation about their ancestors. Edwin told about his great-great-grandpa who moved to New York and started as a salesman and then built a huge business. He even showed a photograph of his young grandpa in New York, but no one believed Edwin's story. Why? Even though the picture is black and white and looks old, old New York looks very much like modern New York, with dozens of skyscrapers. The class noticed and figured out that it definitely wasn't a real photo. Royce called the police and reported that someone had robbed his house. Detective Callum arrived and asked Royce to tell exactly what happened. Royce said that he had walked into his room and saw someone getting out of the window. It was still open because Royce didn't care to close it or touch anything before the police arrived. He checked his wardrobe and found that his savings had been stolen. Detective Callum closed the case. Why? The robber couldn't go out the window without stepping on the bed, but the bed is perfectly made, so it looks like no one was leaving through the window. Kaya was studying in the library. She went to the bathroom and left her things on the desk. When she returned, she found that her wallet had been stolen. She called the police and they interrogated the 3 students who were also in the library. Andre said that he had left the library right after Kaya to get a drink from the vending machine and hadn't touched any of her things. Poppy said that she was studying the whole time and not paying attention to anything. Rhea said that she was in the other part of the library looking for a book she needed and hadn't seen anything suspicious either. Who stole the wallet? It was Andre. He said that he had left to get a drink in a vending machine, but look, there's no drinks in the vending machine, only snacks. A young man named Colton was living with his best friend Cassidy. One morning, he called the police because Cassidy wasn't breathing. He said that he'd been working all day and had returned home late, so he hadn't seen her or talked to her for over a day. In the morning, he found her in bed like that. Last night, Cassidy had a headache and had to take many pills, so maybe that was the reason. Colton was immediately arrested. Why? Colton obviously didn't communicate with Cassidy, but he still somehow knew what she was doing in the evening. He must have come up with all of it, as he is probably guilty. Amber's husband, Carl, is an artist. Can you guess which one of these ladies is Amber? It's the lady in the middle. She has the same paint stains on her clothes as Carl has on his jeans. Carl gets an invitation to visit a mysterious fortune teller, Morgana. She has built a maze so that only smart people could reach her house. Which one of these routes should Carl choose? Only the first path will take him to the final destination. Morgana treats Carl with a welcome drink. Only one of these 3 drinks is safe. Can you guess which one? The first drink. There's a human tooth inside the second glass, and there are too many flies around the third drink, so it's probably not fresh. Morgana says,
I've got a surprise for you. People put it on the table but never eat it. What is it?
Can you guess? The correct answer is a pack of cards. Carl gets his brand new pack of cards. Morgana offers him a mind game. From the pack of 52 cards, she places 4 cards on the table face down and gives Carl 4 clues about the card. Card on the left cannot be greater than the card on the right. The difference between the first card and the third card is 8. There's no single ace among these 4 cards. Also, there are no face cards. And finally, the difference between the second and the fourth card is 7. Can you help Carl guess the values of all 4 cards? Alright, let's put everything on the table. The task was to guess the value, so we can pay no attention to the suits. The first card has to be 2, and the third card has to be 10. There's simply no other way the difference can be 8. The first and the fourth clues reveal that the fourth card can only be 10. And, thanks to clue 5, we know that the second card amounts to 3. So here's the correct answer. Carl successfully solves the riddle. Morgana is impressed. She says,
Now that I see you deserve my gift, I will give you a magic amulet that will turn you into the richest artist. These 3 tunnels lead to the room where the treasure is hidden. You must choose wisely if you want to stay safe.
There's a rhino cuddling her calves in the first tunnel. The second tunnel is filled with gas, which is fatal for any insect. There are thousands of venomous snakes crawling around the third tunnel. Which way is more or less safe? The second one. Nobody said that the gas is dangerous for humans. The next day, Carl feels sick and goes to the hospital. He meets these 3 women in the lobby. Can you find a doctor's wife among them? Take a look at the poster. This doctor is a dentist. The first lady is his patient. And the third one is his colleague, so the second lady is his wife. 3 doctors approach Carl, but one of them is fake. Can you guess who? Take a look at this guy's badge. There's a female picture and a name on it, so he's probably an imposter. The doctor invites Carl to his lab. Can you help him find these 3 items? Here they are. In the evening, Carl arrives home. He spots 5 weird things about this place right away. Can you see them too? The house number is hanging upside down. This raccoon is talking on a cell phone. The bicycle is moving without a rider. This lantern doesn't have a lamppost and floats in the air by itself. And finally, these flowers in the garden are blooming in the middle of winter. Carl enters his house. Surprise! His friends prepared a secret party for his birthday. Everything goes well, but suddenly the lights turn off for 30 seconds. When the power is back again, Carl sees that someone has sneaked his lucky amulet from his neck. He questions 3 suspects. Rick says, "I was cooking snacks in the kitchen. The light turned off so suddenly." Bella says, "I was in the middle of a chess game when the power turned off." And Ren says, "I've been dancing in the living room for the last 30 minutes, and the dark didn't stop me." Who's lying? Bella. She said she was in the middle of her game, but all chess pieces are standing in their initial positions. Bella escapes with the amulet and flies away to Seychelles with her boyfriend Josh. Can you guess which one of these guys is Josh? The second guy. He's lying on her beach wrap. Bella is watching a boxing match on TV. It's a friendly match between 2 heavyweights, which consists of 12 rounds. But it was finished after the 7th round because the boxer knocked out the other one. But during the match, no man threw even a single punch. How can this be possible? Easy. It was between 2 female boxers. In the hotel, Bella has only 3 neighbors on her floor. One of them is turning into a zombie. Can you guess who? This lady. It's hot. Why is she wearing a warm scarf? Bella leaves her hotel room to get some ice. 2 minutes later, she returns and finds out that someone had broken in. How did she know? When she was leaving, the balcony door was opened and now it's locked. It was Carl who robbed Bella. He just took back his amulet and ran away to the roof. Unfortunately, now he's trapped on the roof of the hotel building. It's 200 feet high. There's a hook on the roof and another hook 100 feet down from it. Carl finds a 150-foot long rope and a sharp knife. How can he climb down safely? Carl should cut the rope into 2 parts, 50 and 100 feet. Then make a knot at the end of the shorter rope and put the longer one through it. Then he should slide down the ropes and untie the longer rope to be able to use it again with the second hook. Carl uses his lucky amulet and his art becomes super famous. One day, he receives a phone call from the police. They arrested a group of criminals who tried to sell illegal copies of Carl's artwork. They confiscated 3 paintings. Carl said that one of them is original. Can you guess which one? The first painting is a mirrored version of the original work. The second one has a barely visible handprint. Therefore, only the third painting is original. Carl exhibits a huge collage in a gallery. Can you spot any outstanding images? This guy over here. Carl goes to the gym for a morning workout. He sees something weird and
and freaks out. Can you spot what's wrong? A huge spider is crawling out of the ventilation. Carl puts his bags in a locker before going to the gym shower. He locks it and takes the key with him. He hangs the key on a hook together with his towel. After bathing, Carl finds out that someone had stolen the key and robbed his locker. He questions 3 suspects, but all of them say they were taking a shower and didn't see anything. Who is lying? The third guy. Take a look at his feet. They're too dirty for a man who has just taken a shower.
So, 3 best friends have finally met in a cafe to discuss some business. Val orders a big cake with fruit. Simon asks for a glass of soda. And Leo takes an energy bar out of his bag and starts eating it. The waiter brings the cake and the soda and leaves. Simon drinks from his glass, but Val doesn't touch the cake. Why? There are slices of tomatoes and cucumbers on it. Val asked for a fruitcake. An archaeologist makes his way through the dense jungle of an unknown island. He's looking for a valuable treasure, a 2,000-year-old ancient cup. If he manages to get it, he can sell the artifact for millions of dollars. He comes out to a small lake with a waterfall. He dives under the water and notices 2 caves. The cup is inside one of them. Where should the archaeologist go? Think faster, he's running out of air. He needs to swim to the left cave. Air bubbles are floating out, which means there is some dry land inside the cave. Friends invited George to a picnic. He arrives at the agreed place in the forest, finds a wide clearing, and sees a group of 7 people there. None of them are his friends. Apparently, he's come to the wrong location. George is about to leave this place, but he notices that 3 people are not human. Find them. Look at the way that girl over there blinks. Ooh, creepy. This granny's cane is part of her hand, not a separate object. This guy is charging the phone through a cable connected to his leg. Well, that's convenient. 3 guys are sitting on the sidewalk. They're all in dirty clothes and look tired. Each of them hopes to get some money from people who are passing by. But nobody helps them, since one of these homeless people only pretends to be poor. Passers-by see this and don't want to help any of them. Who do you think is pretending? Look at this bald guy. You can notice a smartwatch on his wrist. Marshall has lost his shoes in a swamp, so now he's walking through the woods barefoot. It's getting cold and dark. Fortunately, he notices a small house ahead. Marshall hears someone singing inside. But before entering the building, he needs to choose one of these dangerous roads. The first one is swarming with poisonous scorpions. Broken glass covers the second path. Weird purple flowers grow on the third road. Which way should Marshall pick? This seems to be a tricky question, but there's no trick. Obviously, he needs to choose the path with the flowers. Marshall comes up to the house, peeks inside through the window, and recoils. A pale woman is rocking a crib with a straw puppet in it and singing a lullaby. A TV is working, but Marshall can't see what's on. Without turning her head to Marshall, the woman says she knows about the stranger standing outside. Marshall starts running away from this place as fast as possible. But how did the woman know about him? There's a hidden camera on the porch. The woman is watching the recording on the TV. Samantha has been wandering through the desert for several hours. The sand is so hot that she can't touch it. Samantha notices a tent far ahead. It's definitely not a mirage. The girl quickens her pace and reaches the spot. She finds a bottle of water, 2 eggs, and a frying pan inside. Samantha quenches her thirst. Now she feels hungry, but it's dangerous to eat raw eggs in the desert. You can get food poisoning. Samantha decides to fry the eggs. She wanders around trying to find some firewood, but sees nothing but endless dunes. How can Samantha cook the eggs? She can put the pan on the sand. It's hot. The sun will add to this heat, and the eggs will fry. There's a huge rock on the shore of a paradise island. There's a castle on the top of this rock. The owner of the castle finds a broken TV in the morning. He calls all the people who were inside that night: a cleaner, a clown, and a laundryman. "Who broke my TV?" the owner asks. "I was washing the dishes in the kitchen. I didn't touch anything," the cleaner replies. "I was rehearsing for my tomorrow's performance," the clown says. "I was watching YouTube on my phone," the laundryman answers. "Give it to me," the owner demands. He presses the lock button, looks at the screen, and says the laundryman has lied to him. What did the owner see on the phone? There's no network signal or Wi-Fi connection. The internet isn't working. The laundryman couldn't be watching YouTube. After taking a shower, Albert realizes he's lost his wedding ring.
Oh, no!
He searches all the cupboards and nightstands in every room, but can't find it. It seems that the ring fell down the drain. Oh no, his wife will return home soon, and she'll definitely notice this disappearance. Albert goes to the bathroom, looks around for the last time, and nothing. The wife enters the apartment. She looks at her husband, asks him to turn around, and pulls the ring out of his hair. It got caught there while he was in the shower. But how did the wife know the ring was there? Albert was facing her. There's a mirror behind Albert. The wife noticed the ring in the reflection. A young philosophy teacher starts an exam. His students listen to him very attentively. "Here's a task for you. Prove that I don't exist now. Those who will provide the most convincing arguments will get a high score." All the students passed the exam in a few seconds. How did they do it? They just walked out of the room. There's no teacher, so there's no exam. Alexis is walking along the street with her purse hanging from her shoulder. She's holding her hands in front of her face, but we can't see what she's doing. A motorcycle appears from around the corner behind. The driver notices Alexis. Now, he wants to steal her bag. The biker is accelerating. He's stretching his hand out, but Alexis steps aside at the last moment. The biker drives away. How did she figure out the guy wanted to rob her? She was looking into a small mirror, checking her makeup. When she noticed the biker in the reflection, the girl stepped aside. There's an old, abandoned warehouse in the city. People say it's a haunted place. Everyone is too afraid to go there. But one day, 3 boys and 2 girls decide to visit the building and paint graffiti on its walls. They approach the warehouse, but one girl, Rachel, refuses to come inside. She wants to wait for her friends outside. The rest of the group goes into the house. They're already gone for a few minutes. Rachel is about to call them, but at this moment, all 3 boys and 1 girl come out of the house. Rachel realizes that ghosts live in the warehouse and runs away. How did she know that? 4 people entered the building and 4 people came out. Where's the catch? One of the boys is different. It's not their friend. Besides, look at his legs. They're slightly transparent. Rachel immediately noticed this and ran away. Kenny is walking through an old abandoned hospital. There are portraits of doctors and some patients on the walls. Kenny illuminates his way with a flashlight. He goes down to the first floor and sees several people in white lab coats. They seem pretty normal and friendly. They're not the guys Kenny saw on the portraits, but he still realizes these doctors are ghosts. How did he figure it out? He was using a flashlight. When he pointed the beam at those people, they didn't cast shadows. It means they were not real. It's evening. Courtney leaves her house to go for a walk to the lake. The moon is shining, the water is calm, there's no wind. Courtney enjoys the silence and the chirping of crickets. She sits down on the grass, closes her eyes, and begins to meditate. At this moment, several people come out of the water. They sit next to Courtney, but she doesn't panic. She realizes she dozed off while meditating and sees a dream now. How did she know that? This time, trust your ears, not your eyes. Firstly, the sound of crickets disappeared. Also, there was no splashing heard when those people came out of the water. The prince of an unknown country arranged a huge party in his homeland. He invited all his friends and lots of celebrities, actors, musicians, and so on. And here he is, on the stage. He takes the microphone and thanks everyone for coming. But he sees only a few people in the hall. Yet he invited many more people. There are simple workers and rich people among his friends. They all live in different countries all over the world. Why haven't any of them arrived? The party is in an unknown country, remember? How could guests buy airplane tickets to an unknown place? Hey, I got a point there. Someone stole a collection of vinyl records from a rock star's house. To escape, the robber hid the records in a trash container. Then he disappeared into a dark alley. Fortunately, Detective Richardson caught him, along with 2 other suspects. Take a look at them. Who do you think the thief is? Look at this guy's shoes. An old banana peel has stuck to his sneaker. That's because he's been to the trash container.